When November 17th, 2017 came around and Justice League was released, we learned exactly how much damage had been done by Batman versus Superman. Because look, that movie, it bombed. Okay? This was the first ever historic meeting of the Justice League on the big screen at a time when the Avengers had been running away to the bank for years now, at a time when the pump had been primed for superheroes and massive team-up adventures to be the biggest thing in the world. Justice League came out and didn't even hit 100 mil in its debut weekend. And the critical response was in the 40s. And despite all this insane work that had gone into the 11th hour overhaul of this movie, so few people turned up. And what you got to understand is that wasn't because of the reshoots. That wasn't because of Henry's face. Nobody knew about Henry's face yet. You know, only the hardcore geeks knew how much Justice League had been changed. To the rest of the world, they saw the trailers. And the trailers sold you a Zack Snyder DC superhero movie that is the direct continuation of Batman versus Superman. So if you're someone who saw Batman versus Superman in March of 2016 and you thought, ugh, the last thing you want to do now is go see Justice League because you're thinking this is just more of that. It's not like the studio went out there and said, hey, everybody, get ready for a drastically different movie. We went and got the Avengers director to come in here and make it more something that you like. Like they did all of this sneaky stuff behind the scenes that only certain reporters were willing to break silence and let you know what was coming. And you didn't believe those reporters. But most people didn't know. So when most people showed Justice League the cold shoulder, they did so because they didn't like the last movie, which in that particular line of stories wasn't Wonder Woman. It was Batman versus Superman. So when BVS came out and bombed, that essentially nuked Henry Cavill's Superman. That solo movie that had been in some stage of development since 2016 was now off the books, was now not a thing. And yet all his fans now had to cling to this idea of, well, he does have one movie left on his deal. And he really wants to make another Superman movie. You know, he was out there doing interviews and Danny Garcia, his manager, was out there beating the drum of how we're going to see more Superman soon enough. And I was hearing all kinds of murmurs of meetings happening at Warner Brothers where Walter Hamada and the new people taking over for DC were making big top level decisions about what happens next. And there was this brief window after Justice League where there was hope that we could get Superman flying again if we could just build on this new look at him that we got in Justice League and just continue on from there. We can, pull off this pivot. But Walter Hamada said no.